In this demonstration, we're going to talk about Komprise sensitive data management for AI data governance and cybersecurity. So three main use cases we hear when we talk about this to our customers is one is probably the most obvious. We want to make sure we're preventing any unintended data leakage during AI ingestion. So make sure we're able to prevent data breaches. The second is sensitive data handling for cyber resilience. And the third is being able to audit data workflows to understand who's doing what, when, and how with our data. So today we're going to talk about sensitive data detection and mitigation. And there's a lot of new functionality now available in the Smart Data Workflow Manager. So Paul, why don't you introduce us to this and then we'll jump into the demonstration.
Sure, Darren. The Smart Data Workflow Manager has a lot of capability in the latest release. It does include PII detection, as well as now a keyword and regex scanner. So those allow you to search for both specific types of PII and very company-specific or organization-specific strings or regexes that you've got that you need to find. The brilliant thing is that we're doing these searches in place behind your firewall. So your data is not leaving your data estate. By using Komprise, we can also help you remediate and take action on that data once it's found. You can confine the data and hide it from anyone's use. You can delete the data. You can ask end users to look at the data and help you decide what to do. This is a great pre-processing step for AI ingestion as well. If you've got data that you need to feed into your AI and machine learning language systems, you may not want sensitive data to be fed to those systems. You can pre-process that data, filtering it out first. And you can do this on an ongoing basis. So if you've got new data flowing in on a daily, hourly, weekly basis, you can schedule these runs to scan on those basis as well.
Fantastic. All right, let's jump into the demo.
So here I am at the login screen. I'm going to log into your familiar director application for Komprise. You land on the plan page as normal, but there's a new tab at the top for workflows. This is where you configure and monitor your smart data workflows. There are several workflows already running, but let me take you through building a new workflow using some of these new scanners. Now, of course, when you specify a workflow, the first thing you need to do is tell Komprise what data you'd like to scan. Now, the more surgical you can be about defining your input data sets, the faster you'll get your results. So instead of selecting an entire site or even an entire cluster to search, you may want to dive down to specific shares or even further down into specific directories or subdirectories. And that can help your searches run much faster. You also have the option to use a deep analytics query. So if you've built some queries to specifically find data sets, you can use those queries to feed the input of your workflow. In this case, I'll use a query that finds all data that's already been tagged with a Project X label. Next, you choose the content scanner. We do have multiple content scanners available. The one I want to focus on today is the PII scanner. When you select this scanner, you immediately see there's a number of different PII types that are automatically built into our product. You can search for these types. You can sort by different categories. For example, looking just at financial. You can also look at by category or by country. So if you wanted to just focus on the United States, you could focus down on those types of PII. For this example, let's suppose we're going to look for data that has US passports, tax numbers, and social security numbers. Once I've set that up, then I configure the tags that I want Komprise to label the data with. As the scanner runs, if it finds files with any of those PII types, it will then tag those files in the Komprise global file index. Now I can use an existing key. I've got a nice one here, PII. The values of each tag will be automatically populated by Komprise. So if we find a file with social security number, we'll tag that file with the tag PII social security number. So that's really the meat of the workflow. Now I can just decide, do I want to run it once? Do I want to run it multiple times? If I do want to run it repeating, I can set up any schedule that I like. And I can choose to run it either on all the data, or a more efficient, optimized way is to only run it on the new data. That can make my results show up much more quickly. I'll start the workflow automatically. I'll give it a name. In this case, we're searching that engineering folder. Then it's a matter of just reviewing all my configurations and starting the workflow. So the workflow is now in the list. I can see it's starting to run. It's not yet processed any files. I can dig into the details, and as it's running, I'll get progress on this big progress bar, and I'll get numerical values too. And if it's a repeating workflow, I'll have different runs captured in the details. Of course, there's a report available as well, but the fun thing to do then is to look at the data that's being tagged. So the simple way to do is you go to Deep Analytics, you can start a new query, and then look for the files that have been tagged by that workflow. So we were looking for files that had PII. The workflow is finding them, it's tagging them in Deep Analytics. Now we can search for those files, and I may want to search for the Social Security number, the US passport that we were looking for. So I'll look for files tagged with those tags. I get the results. There could be millions of those files. I can get a gander of them in the user interface. I can download a CSV with them. I can send the information to these owners and say, we found these files with sensitive data. Can you either confirm or deny it's got sensitive information? And if it does, then help us figure out what we need to do. Should we delete? Should we archive? Should we move it somewhere else? So that's a very quick overview of what you can do now with smart data workflows.
Fantastic. Thanks, Paul. That was a great demonstration. And it really represents the expanding value of the Komprise intelligent data management platform. And I think there's four key points for me that really jumped out. I mean, one is the ability of Komprise now to crack open files to find specific information, a really big step forward. The second, as you mentioned, is that all of the processing is done locally. So the data never leaves the customer's environment. Third is that the data that we find, we're tagging in our global file index, really bringing more and more value to that data. And then finally, I really think this represents an expanding opportunity, an expanding role of data storage administrators to really be data stewards in this new world of data AI and data governance, and ultimately secure data management and greater visibility. So thanks for taking us through that demonstration. And if you want to learn more, you can visit komprise.com.